The Amish and electricity, a surprising blend of tradition and ingenuity. When you think of the Amish, do you picture a life entirely untouched by modern technology? If so, prepare to be surprised. Contrary to the stereotype of being staunch technology resistors, the Amish have a uniquely pragmatic and creative relationship with electricity that challenges common assumptions. While it's easy to assume they reject all forms of modern power, their approach is a masterclass in balancing tradition with practicality. And frankly, it's brilliant. Imagine a system where energy independence meets community values, and you'll start to glimpse the world of Amish innovation. Here's a fascinating twist. Their methods might even hold clues for modern energy solutions without asking you to give up your favorite Netflix binge sessions. Intrigued? Let's explore how these resourceful innovators manage to power their lives while staying true to their values. Dispelling the myths. Let's tackle the biggest misconception right away. The Amish do not outright reject electricity. Instead, their use of power is guided by thoughtful compromise. During my visits to various Amish communities, and yes, I've indulged in some heavenly homemade pies along the way, I learned their approach is less about shunning technology and more about shaping it to fit their values. Each Amish district, or ordnung, sets its own rules on what is permissible. Think of it as local governance, but with far more harmony than politics typically entails. Decisions are made collectively by bishops and elders, weighing the pros and cons of new technology in meticulous detail. Their guiding principle? Avoiding dependence on the outside world while preserving strong community ties. For example, anything connecting them to the main power grid is off limits, not because they fear electricity itself, but to steer clear of the distractions and dependencies that come with it. No endless TikTok scrolling here. Instead, they've developed ingenious off-grid solutions that would make even the most eco-conscious among us green with envy. Innovation, rooted in values. During one visit, an Amish farmer proudly showed me his workshop. To my surprise, his setup rivaled any modern workspace. The tools were powered by alternative energy sources, all designed to maximize self-sufficiency while honoring community traditions. Watching their clever use of solar panels and batteries was like witnessing a real-life version of a survival game, except they're winning at it. Some communities in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania, have mastered solar-powered refrigeration for dairy operations. Meanwhile, over in Holmes County, Ohio, you'll find workshops using battery-operated tools, each community tailoring its rules to local needs. It's like every Amish district has created its own recipe for blending tradition with practicality, and they've nailed it. A solar revolution. The Amish solar story began as early as the 1970s. Yes, during the disco era. Forward-thinking Amish in Lancaster County began experimenting with solar panels, not to lead a tech revolution, but to address practical needs, like keeping milk cold. Today, solar power is a staple in many Amish communities, powering everything from workshops to small household appliances. What's remarkable is their thoughtful implementation. Solar panels are often discreetly placed behind barns or mounted on the ground, angled just right to capture sunlight. The systems are modest, usually generating 1.5 to 2 kilowatts of power, but perfectly suited to their needs. And they're masters of adapting tools for DC power, ensuring efficiency without compromising simplicity. Lessons for modern life. The Amish don't just embrace simplicity, they refine it. Watching their innovation in action is a reminder that necessity drives invention, but community shapes its purpose. Their solar setups, tailored to enhance cooperation rather than isolation, are a testament to this philosophy. Could their approach inspire modern solutions? Absolutely. In an era when sustainability and energy independence are hot topics, the Amish demonstrate that it's possible to innovate without losing sight of what matters most: values, connections, and a sense of purpose. So, the next time you hear someone say the Amish reject electricity, you'll know the truth. They don't reject it, they reinvent it. And perhaps, just perhaps, there's something we can all learn from their way of life. Exploring the practical power of Amish-inspired energy solutions. Ever wondered how age-old traditions can teach us to embrace modern energy solutions without losing simplicity? Dive in, and I'll show you how the Amish have perfected a self-reliant approach to power that can work wonders in your home. After hours of poring over their setups and insights, I've distilled their wisdom into a guide that even Wi-Fi enthusiasts can follow. No drastic sacrifices required. The setup begins with space. As with real estate, it's all about location, location, location. A basic Amish-inspired solar setup needs approximately 400 square feet of south-facing open space, about the size of a two-car garage. Planning is essential here. Without it, you're just sunbathing your hopes. Crunching the numbers. Let's talk about the budget, a topic almost as divisive as pineapple on pizza. Setting up a basic Amish-style solar system costs between $3,000 and $5,000. Steep? Sure, but consider that's less than many people's coffee habits over a few years. Here's what you'll need. Solar panels, 400 to 600 watts total, $200 to $1,800. Charge controller, $200 to $300. Deep cycle batteries, $800 to $1,200. Inverter, optional, $400 to $600. Mounting hardware and wiring, $400 to $600. Think of it as an investment that pays off with every bill you don't dread. DIY solar installation is a weekend project that even I, a person whose DIY history includes gluing my hand to a chair, managed without major disaster. Start with a ground-mounted frame, often crafted from treated lumber or metal poles. Then, install the panels, wire them to a charge controller, and connect the battery bank. Pro tip: allocate extra time. You don't want your doorbell mysteriously opening your garage. An Amish craftsman once told me, "Start small and expand." You wouldn't buy a horse without first learning to ride. Wise words. Begin with essentials like your refrigerator or a few lights, then scale up as needed. This method not only spreads the cost, but also ensures you truly understand your system. Solar power's cloudy companion. When the sun hides, battery storage is your savior. Amish families typically rely on deep-cycle lead-acid batteries, though progressive groups are exploring lithium iron phosphate, LiFePO4, options. A standard setup, 4 to 8 batteries storing 4 to 8 kilowatt-hours, costs between $2,000 and $4,000. Here's the breakdown. 4 batteries, $1,600. Battery monitor, $300 smart charging system, $500 connection hardware, $200 ventilated housing unit. $400 maintenance is refreshingly simple. Monthly water level checks, quarterly terminal cleaning, and daily voltage monitoring. Some communities even share battery banks, reinforcing bonds while sharing power. Harnessing the wind. Now here's where things really take off, literally. Wind turbines have been an Amish favorite since the 1980s, especially in breezy regions like Indiana and Michigan. Unlike solar, wind energy faced little resistance from conservative Amish groups. As one elder put it, wind is God's gift, turning mills since biblical times. Can't argue with that logic. Typical wind turbine setups are pragmatic, with rules like height limits, usually under 40 feet, to maintain the community's humble aesthetic. Many components are crafted in local workshops, showcasing the Amish's self-sufficiency. Costs range between $4,000 and $7,000 for a setup generating 2 to 5 kilowatts of power, enough to power workshops or dairy farms. A farmer proudly shared, "It runs my tools and keeps the ice cream frozen." Priorities, right? Maintenance is clever, with tilt-up towers that simplify servicing. And yes, some communities even decorate their guy wire markers with old buggy wheels, a mix of practicality and charm. Final thoughts. Simple, self-sufficient solutions. Both solar and wind power underscore a deeper lesson from the Amish. Self-reliance and harmony with nature don't mean abandoning progress. These solutions fit seamlessly into their values and lifestyles, offering energy independence without excessive complexity. Thinking about adopting their strategies? Start small, plan wisely, and don't forget to enjoy the journey. After all, learning to power your home is as much about understanding yourself as it is about harnessing the elements. Who would have thought that the gentle hum of a diesel engine would become part of Amish life? And yet, in communities across northern Indiana and central Ohio, the putt-putt of diesel power has become as familiar as homemade bread on a Sunday dinner table. This story begins in the late 1970s, when one enterprising Amish farmer discovered that a stationary diesel engine could transform his workshop without compromising his community's values. "It's not about going fast," he reportedly said. "It's about going steady." The Amish approach to diesel power is as deliberate and calculated as a chess grandmaster's opening move. These engines are not for transportation, but serve as stationary power sources for essential tasks, operating workshop machinery, cooling milk, or running industrial washing systems. The numbers tell an intriguing story. Setting up a typical diesel-powered workshop costs between $3,000 and $6,000, covering the engine, generator head, fuel storage, and electrical components. Thanks to bulk purchasing agreements, diesel costs around $2.50 per gallon. Some communities have even ventured into producing their own biodiesel from waste vegetable oil, turning an everyday byproduct into sustainable fuel. One Amish mechanic joked, "Our engines run on French fry power. At under $1.50 per gallon to produce, this biodiesel provides significant savings while maintaining self-reliance. A well-maintained diesel generator can power a furniture workshop for just $1,250 in annual fuel costs, generating thousands of dollars in revenue. But diesel isn't the only energy story here. Propane, too, has become a quiet yet indispensable part of Amish life. Used for everything from cooking and heating to refrigeration and even industrial equipment, propane aligns perfectly with Amish values: simple, reliable, and independent. A typical Amish household consumes 800 to 1,000 gallons of propane annually. Bulk purchasing agreements bring the cost down to $1.75 per gallon, significantly lower than their non-Amish neighbors pay. Families often lease 500-gallon tanks for $100 a year, and their total energy costs, including appliances, are astonishingly efficient. One family, operating a small candy-making business, described propane as their faithful workhorse, always ready when needed and silent when it's not. Before diesel and propane, water power was the lifeblood of Amish workshops, and in some traditional settlements, the water wheel is spinning its way into the modern age. Places like Holmes County, Ohio, and Lancaster, Pennsylvania, are experiencing a water power renaissance. With advancements in materials and engineering, today's water wheels are more efficient and durable than ever. They can generate 3 to 5 horsepower, enough to power a fully equipped woodworking shop. Initial setup costs range from $5,000 to $8,000, including the wheel, shaft, and a retention pond that acts as a natural energy reservoir. Footage of a craftsman proudly explaining his water wheel setup, showing the gears and flowing water. "Think of it as a battery," explained one Amish builder, "except this one fills up every time it rains." A well-designed water wheel can generate 8,000 kilowatt-hours annually, powering a workshop continuously, day and night. One craftsman recounted a rare interruption. "The local beavers decided to remodel my water channel. Other than that, we haven't had," final montage, "diesel engines humming, propane stoves glowing, water wheels turning, and families working together."